Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Melting Math. In this video we are going to discuss about electricity, which is in the 6th standard Tamil Nadu new syllabus term 2, and it is a unit 2. Okay, let's get involved in it. Electricity is very familiar to us because we are using the electricity in our day-to-day life. Okay, let's mention a few of the electrical application which is used in your home, that are television, computer, mobile phones, fridge, air conditioner, washing machines, laptop, tab, like so many things are there. Okay, can you ever imagine a world without electricity? Yes, it's there. If you ask your grandfather or grandmother, means you can come to know about that world. In there they were used oil lamps for light, and they were cooking with the help of wood and fire. After invention of the electricity, that electricity made our life into very luxurious form. Yes, after invention of electricity we created a mixie, grinder, so many things that make our work into the easy manner. Yes, so similarly in light also, when we switch on means the light glows, when we switch off means the light turns off. It is a very easy and the simple form. So electricity made our life into luxurious form, and it make our work into the simple manner. Okay, let's see about source of electricity is nothing but from where we are getting the electricity. Okay, that is the source of electricity. We are getting the electricity from so many powers from power stations. Okay, that are thermal power station, idle power station, tidal power station, wind power station, solar power station. Okay, apart from these, two more source of electricity is there, that are cell and the battery. Yes, the cell and battery are different. Cell is nothing but a single cell which gives us the electricity, means that's called a cell. And battery is nothing but a connection of a cell which gives us the electricity, means that's called a battery. Okay, let's briefly discuss about this working of this power station. Okay, working of the power station is nothing but how this power station produce the electricity. Okay, let's discuss about it. Before involving to discuss about it, we have to know about one machine that's called the turbine. Okay, this turbine is mostly used in the most of the power stations to produce the electricity. Okay, let's see how. A turbine is a round like a form of a machine. Inside the turbine, electrolyte region will be there. Electrolyte region consists of magnet wound by the copper wire. Okay, the turbine rotates. When it rotates means when gas or fluids, steam, water pass through this turbine, means the turbine will rotate. If the turbine rotates means inside the turbine electrolyte region will be there. Okay, that electrolyte region will produce the magnetic field due to the connection of magnet and the copper wire. Okay, after that it gives us the electricity. That electricity only we are stored and transferred to the villages and so many houses. Okay, that's it. This is how the electricity is produced. So turbine is the most important machine which is used in the most of the power stations. Okay, first see about the thermal power station. Here we are getting the electricity from which power? Thermal power. Thermal power means what? The name itself, it's there. Thermal is nothing but the heat. Okay, here we are getting the electricity from heat. By producing the heat, here we are burning the coal, diesel or a gas. Okay, by burning this coal, diesel and the gas, the steam will produce. The steam will pass through the turbine. As I said, if the steam pass through the turbine means what will happen? The turbine will rotate. If the turbine rotate means electrolyte region will rotate. So the in that electrolyte region magnetic field will produce due to the combination of magnet and the copper wire. So from that electricity will get from the transformer and transfer to the home. This is how the electricity is produced in the thermal power station. So here heat energy is converted into the electrical energy. Okay, that's it. Next see about the idle power station. Here also we are getting the electricity. Okay, from where we are getting this electricity, from which power? That's the idle power. Idle power means what? That's nothing but the water, specifically the dam water. Okay, so here also the turbine is used. If the dam water pass through this turbine in the forceful manner, the turbine will rotates. During the rotation of the turbine, electrolyte region will rotate. That electrolyte region will produce the magnetic field due to the combination of a magnet and the copper wire inside the electrolyte region. So after that it gives us the electricity to the transformer, and it transferred to the villages, and it's stored in the electric power stations. Okay, this is how the ideal power station works. So here the kinetic energy is converted into the electrical energy. As I said, the kinetic energy is nothing but the speed of the flow of water into the turbine. Okay, as I said, the speed is very important here. The speed of the water is very important here. That speed only produces the electricity here. So that's why we are mentioning here the kinetic energy convert into the electrical energy. Okay, next one is the atomic power stations. Okay, in atomic power station, nuclear energy is used to boil the water. Okay, nuclear energy is what? Nuclear energy is nothing but when the fission reaction takes place in the uranium atom, means it produces the nuclear energy. What is the fission here? Fission is nothing but the splitting of the nuclear atom. So by splitting of the nuclear atom, we get one nuclear energy. So we are using that nuclear energy to boil the water. If the water boils, means what will produce? The steam will produce. If the steam pass through the turbines, mean what will happen? The turbine will rotate. If the turbine rotates, means electrolyte region also rotate. In that electrolyte region, magnetic field will produce due to the combination of magnet and the what? Copper wire. So after that it gives us the electricity through the wire, and it transferred to the transformer to the villages, and it's stored as well. Okay, this is how the electricity is produced in the atomic power station. We also called it as a what? Nuclear power stations. Okay, here the nuclear energy is converted into mechanical energy and then the electrical energy. Okay, that's it. Here this is also similar to the ideal power stations. In there we are getting the steam from burning of gas, coal, or a gas in the thermal power station, but here we are getting the steam from boiling of water with the help of nuclear energy. As I said, nuclear energy is nothing but when we split the uranium atom, means the energy will produce, that's called the nuclear energy. So the splitting of the uranium energy process is called the fission of a uranium atom. Okay, that's it. Next one is the windmills. So next we are getting the electricity from wind. Wind is we familiar with it. That's nothing but air. So here we are getting the electricity from where? Here also the force is very important. Force of the air which strikes on the fan is very important. Okay, here also the turbine is there. So when the air strikes the fan, windmills fans in the forceful manner, means that fan will rotate. Due to the rotation of the fan, turbine also rotate. Inside the turbine, electrolyte region is there. It is also rotate. During that rotation, that electrolyte region will produce the magnetic field due to the presence of magnet and the copper wire inside that electrolyte region. It produces a magnetic field. After, due to the magnetic field, it produces the electric current. So finally we get this electricity through the wire into the transformer, and it transferred to the worm. So this is how we are getting the electricity from wind. Okay, so here kinetic energy is converted into the electrical energy. Okay, that's it. Next we are going to discuss about cell. Okay, let's see the definition of cell. A device that converts chemical energy into electrical energy is called a cell. Here, a device that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. We know electrical energy is nothing but the electricity. But what is the chemical energy? To know about the chemical energy, we need to study about the inner structure of the cell. Okay, let's see. This is the cell. In a cell, there are two terminals are there. One is a negative terminal, another one is a positive terminal. In between this terminal, electrolyte region is there. Okay, here in the region of the negative terminal, we are filling the zinc material, and the region of the positive terminal is filled with graphite core. Okay, in between the electrolyte region is there, no, in there we are filling the ammonium chloride paste. Okay, here the negative terminal filled with the zinc is consist of more number of electrons, and the positive terminal in the graphite core is consist of more number of protons. Okay, the symbol of the electron is a negative and the symbol of the proton is positive. Okay, that's why we are mentioning the negative terminal as a electron and the positive terminal as a proton. Okay, so in the cell you need to know about one basic thing. The electricity is mainly comes from the electron only. Okay, so whenever I mention the electron, it's a negative symbol. Whenever I mention the proton, it's a positive symbol. Okay, first clear about this. So here the nature of the electron is to attract the proton. Okay, the nature of the negative charge is to attract the positive charge. Okay, it's similar like the magnet poles. Yeah, in a magnet two opposite poles are attract to each other. It's like that. Electron will always attract the proton, but here you can see in the negative terminal and the positive terminal, in between these two terminal, electrolyte region is there. This electrolyte region will act as a non-conductor. Okay, it will not conduct the electron to attract the proton. That's why we are putting the electrolyte in between these two terminal. So this electrolyte will not allows the electron to attract the proton in between this cell. So this is the inner structure of the cell. Okay, as they mentioned in the definition, what they mentioned, the device that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Okay, these are the chemical energy here. Yes, the zinc, graphite core, ammonium chloride place, these are the chemical substances which reacts and which gives us the electricity, means that's called the chemical energy. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, as I said, the nature of the electron is to attract the proton. Okay, just remember, whenever I mention the electron, that's the negative terminal. Whenever I mention the proton, that's the positive terminal. Okay, so as I said, nature of the electron is to attract the proton, but in between here electrolyte is there, it will not allow the electron to attract the proton. So if we make a wire connection from negative terminal to positive terminal, so what will happen? The electron will flows through the wire and it attracts the proton from the another terminal through that wire. Okay, so in that wire, if we fix a bulb or a switch in that wire, means what will happen? That bulb glows up due to the flow of electron, and the switch, if we place the switch, means we can turn off, we can turn on the switch. When we turn on, means the electron will flows through that wire and it reach the bulb. After that it goes to the positive terminal. So when we turn off the switch, the electrons cut at that stage, it will not pass through the bulb and the other terminal. So this is how the cell works. So after some time, after using this process continuously, the flow of electron will stop at one stage. Okay, so all the electrons in the negative terminal are gone to the positive terminal, means that's it, there is no flow of electron, means the state of the cell is empty and it's not work afterwards. Okay, this is how the cell gets empty. Okay, that's it. This is how the cell works. Okay, as I said, the flow of electron is very important here. The flow of electron through the wire only makes the bulb to glow up. So that is very important. So how the electron flows, means it always goes to attract the proton. It always used to attract the protons and it fills in the empty space of the of that positive region. Okay, this is the process of a cell. Okay, in that cell two types of cells are there. One is a primary cell, another one is a secondary cell. First see about the primary cell. Primary cell is nothing but a cell which cannot be rechargeable. Yes, we can use it only once, and the size of the cell is also very small. Okay, you can see here. Let's see some example of primary cells in clock, watches, toys and all, we are using the primary cells. In a remote also we are using the primary cells. If you remove the cells from your remote, means you can see it's very small in size, and in your watch also, in your home clock also, the cells are in a very small size, and it's a primary cell. It cannot be rechargeable, and we can use it only once. Okay, another type of a cell is a secondary cell. A secondary cell is a cell which can be rechargeable. Okay, we can recharge it many times, and we can use it many times, and it's a long life cell. The size of the cell is a little more large when compared to the primary cell. Okay, let's see some example of the primary cell that are the cell used in mobile phones, laptops, emergency lamp, and vehicle batteries. Okay, in here and all we are using the secondary cell. Okay, it is a rechargeable, and it's a long life cell. Okay, according to the type of the cell, we have to do one activity. Let's see here. From the following pictures, identify those use primary cell and secondary cell. Mark primary cell as a P, secondary cell as S. Okay, let's see. First, they gave a watch. In watch, we are using which type of cell? That's a primary cell. Yes, you can see it's very less in size, and it's not rechargeable, so it's a primary cell. Next picture, it's a car. In car we are using the cell like a secondary cell. It's rechargeable. Okay, so just mention yes. Third one, it's a remote. In remote we are using the primary cell. Yes, it's not rechargeable, and it's very small in size. Okay, next, mobile phone. Mobile phone we are using the secondary cell. It's rechargeable. We know we can put the charge, so it's rechargeable. We can use it many times by charging the cell. Okay, and fifth one is a emergency lamp. Emergency lamp also using the secondary cell. It's rechargeable. Okay, so just mention yes here. So that's it. Next, we are going to see about the battery. As I said, battery is nothing but a connection of a cell which gives us the electricity, means that's called the battery. Okay, just see here. Here they connected the three cells together, so it forms a battery. It's same like the cell only. Here also the electron flows from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. By flowing of the electron, when we place a bulb in the wire, it glows up. When we place the switch, means we can stop the electrons, and we can pause the electron flow of electron, and we can resume the flow of electron using that switch. Okay, that's it. Next, we are going to see about electric circuits. Electric circuit is nothing but in a cell. In a cell, wire, bulb, key are connected to the cell, means that's called the electric circuit. Okay, in the electric circuit, one important thing is there. So in case of the battery, as I said, in battery we are connecting together two or more cells. Yes, it's true or not? Yes, in the battery we are connecting two or more cells to make the battery. Okay, in there the connection of the battery is very important. We need to connect the cell in the opposite terminal to form a battery. That only works very well. Yes, in your home we have a torch light. In the torch light we used to put the two or three cells in the opposite terminals to form a battery. That only helps the torch to glow up. Okay, if you place the same terminal together inside the torch light, it will not work. So it's same like as I said, in the cell the flow of electron will be in the form of opposite terminals only. Okay, you have to place the cell in the opposite terminal. Just see here. First, in the first cell we have a negative terminal on left side and positive terminal on right side. Then the another cell we need to place negative terminal on the left side and positive terminal on the right side. Here you can see the first and second cell are joined together in the opposite terminals. That is very important. That only makes the electron to flow through the cells to the positive terminal, negative terminal to positive terminal. Then the another cell also you can see the left side of the cell is a negative terminal and the right side of the cell is a positive terminal. Okay, this here also you can see the positive and the negative terminal are placed together, so it is easy to the electron to flow and to attract the protons. So that is only make the cell into the battery to work in the good manner. Okay, so when you connect the cell into the battery, you need to remember to place the terminals in the opposite together to form a battery. Okay, that only makes the flow of electron in between the cells in the good manner. If you place same terminal together in the battery, it will not be the good manner. It will not allows the electron to flow freely inside the cell, so it's not a good one. So we have to place the cell in the opposite terminals to form a battery to get a good electricity. That only works very well. Okay, so that's the electric circuit. In that electric circuit, two more things are there. Let's see. First, take a simple circuit. As I said, electric circuit is nothing but the cell connected with the battery and a key using a connecting wire, means that's called the electric circuit. Okay, this is the electric circuit. Okay, so here when the switch turn on, the light glows up. When the switch turn off, the light turns off. Okay, we know it. So how does it works? Okay, so when the switch on means we called it as a one circuit, and when the switch off means we called it as one circuit. Okay, so two types of circuit are there based on the switch. Okay, let's see about it. First, see, when the switch off means what is the state of that circuit? When the switch off means the state of the circuit is called the open circuit. Yes, you can see here, this is the diagrammatic representation of the key. Okay, you can see here when the switch is off means the wires are not connected in the switch, so that is a open circuit. That is called the open circuit. You can easily observe it through this diagrammatic representation. Okay, when the switch is off, that is called the open circuit. There is no flow of electricity. Okay, so what is another type? That is when the switch is on, the state of the circuit is called the closed circuit. We can also observe it by using the diagrammatic representation. You can see here in the diagrammatic representation of the figure of the switch is turned on. So the switch is turned on means the flow of electron is there. Okay, when the switch on means the circuit is called the closed circuit. Closed circuit is nothing but the wires are connected in that switch. So if the wires are connected in the switch means the electron can able to flow through the wire, through the bulb and through the positive terminal. So it's easy to flow of the electron. So there is a two circuit is there. When the switch is off, that state of circuit is called open circuit. When the switch is on, that state of circuit is called the closed circuit. Open circuit is nothing but the wires are disconnected in the switch. Closed circuit is nothing but the wires are connected inside the switch, means that's a closed circuit. Okay, so there are three types of circuits are there. Let's see about it. First one is a simple circuit. Okay, simple circuit is nothing but a circuit consisting of a cell, key, bulb and connecting wires, means that's called the simple circuit. You can see it in this figure. Okay, this is a simple circuit. Okay, here also I mentioned the electron flows from a negative terminal to positive terminal. In between that bulb is there and the key is there. So here key is on only. So the electron flows through this bulb and the bulb glows. After that it flows through the to the positive terminal. Okay, this is a simple circuit. Another one is a series circuit. Series circuit is nothing but if two or more bulbs are connected in the series circuit, means that type of circuit is called the series circuit. Okay, you can see here three bulbs are connected in the series form. Series form is nothing but the bulb are connected in a horizontal manner in this circuit. Okay, you can observe here. One disadvantage is there, yes. If one bulb got fused, means the other two bulbs or other bulb does not glow. Okay, let's see how it happen. As I said, the electron flows from negative terminal to positive terminal. Whenever I mention the electron, it's electricity. Okay, just remember, if the electron flows from negative terminal to positive terminal, means it moves on to the first bulb. After that it flows to the second bulb. After that it flows to the third bulb. After that it reaches the key. Here the key is closed, means it's a closed circuit. It's the key is on. Okay, so after that it flows through and it goes to the positive terminal. This is how it works. So let's see, if one bulb got damaged, means the flow of electron will stop here itself and it will not move to the another bulb. So it will affect the whole circuit. This is the main disadvantage here. Okay, so the third type of circuit is called the parallel circuit. Yes, if two or more bulbs are connected in the parallel manner in the circuit, means that's a type of circuit is called the parallel circuit. So parallel is nothing but here we are arranging the bulb in the vertical manner. Okay, here no disadvantage is there. If one bulb got damaged, means also that will not affect the whole circuit, but in case of a series, if one bulb got damaged, means that affects the whole circuit. But here if one bulb got damaged or if one bulb got fused, means that does not affect the whole circuit. Yes, you can see here, as I said, the electron flows from where to where, negative terminal to positive terminal. Let's see, it goes through this through the wire and it will reach the bulb 1 and it will reach the bulb 2. So if one bulb got damaged, means the flow of electron does not affect the whole circuit. It keeps moving on the another bulb on the another wire. Okay, that's it. This is these are the types of the circuits. Okay, next we are going to see about the symbol of electric components. So in the most of the diagrammatic representation we are using the only the symbols. That symbols only makes us to draw the circuit in the easy manner. Instead of drawing the bulb, original bulb, instead of drawing the original cell, we can use the symbol for the diagrammatic representation. It makes us to draw the diagram in the simple manner. Okay, let's see about symbols that we are used in most of the circuits. Okay, let's see. First, in the electric cell, we can know this is the figure of the cell and the symbol representation of cell is this one, and the remarks are longer terminal refers positive and the shorter terminal refers negative. We know it. Okay, next, second one is a battery. So this is the figure of the battery, we know, and the symbol of battery is this one. The long line is representing the positive terminal and the short line is representing the negative terminal. Okay, so that the remark is two or more cells connected in series, means that's called the battery. Okay, we know it. Next one is a switch open. So switch open. Switch open means, as I said, this is a figure and the symbol representation is this one. Switch open means the switch is turned off here. Okay, so that is the remark here. Next, fourth one, switch closed. This is the figure of switch closed. As I mentioned, this is a symbol representation of a closed switch. The switch is in on position, that is a remark. Okay, next one is a electric bulb. In the bulb, two form is there. One, the light does not glows and the light glows. We can represent the light does not glows with this symbol, and the remark is as usual same, the bulb does not glow, and the light glows means we can represent this symbol, and the remark is the light glows. Okay, final one is connecting wires. So this is a figure of connecting wire and the symbol of connecting wire is this line. So this is used to connect the devices. Okay, connect the devices, cells, bulb, like that. Okay, that's it. These are the symbol representation of the figures. Okay, these symbols are very useful for us to draw a easy and the simple diagrammatic representation of a circuit. Okay, that's it. Next, we are going to see about one interesting fish that is called the electric eel. Yes, this fish will produce the electricity. Yes, it's true. Don't think this fish will produce a more amount of electricity. It helps to give the electricity to our home. It's not like that. This fish will produce the electricity to defending itself, okay, from a bigger fish, from other enemy fishes. Okay, so it produces the electricity for the purpose of protecting itself. Okay, and it also produces the electricity to catch the food. Okay, this is the main feature of this fish. So it is one amazing fish. Next, one is a ammeter. Ammeter is a device we are used it to calculate how much current is passed through the wire. Yes, if we connect this ammeter in the wire format of the circuit, means it shows us how much amount of electricity is flows on the wire. That's the main use of this ammeter. Okay. Next, we are going to see about conductors and insulators. Okay, first see about conductors. Conductor is nothing but the material which conducts electricity, means that's called the conductor. Yes, all materials does not conduct the electricity. Okay, in all material the electrons will not flow. In some of the materials only electron will flows. Okay, that types of material are called the conductor. Okay, let's see some examples of a conductor that are copper, iron, aluminum, impure water. These are the example of the conductors which conducts the electricity. Okay, next see about the insulators. Insulator is nothing but the material which does not conduct electricity, means that is called the insulator or the non-conductors. Okay, here we have example of this plastic, glass, wood, rubber, china clay, ebonite. These are the examples of insulators. It will not conduct the electricity. Okay, it will not conduct electricity means the electron will not flows in that material. Okay, that is example here. In our home we are using the more amount of wires. In that wires are used to pass the electricity in our home itself. Okay, so in that wire you can cut that wire and see in the outside layer of the wire is filled with the plastic material, so it's an insulator. It will not conduct the electricity. Okay, inside the wire you can see that one copper material that only conducts the electricity, that only makes the flow of electricity inside our home and all the other areas. So wire is a very good example. In wire itself both the conductor and non-conductors are there. Outer materials is filled with a plastic, it's a non-conductor, that is a insulator, and the inner material of the wire is a copper, that is a conductor, and it carries the electrons to the other region through the wire. Okay, so these are the insulators and the conductors. We have one activity here. Here they gave one picture. Here the wires are disconnected. Here you can see here. Okay, if the wires are disconnected, let's see what they gave here. Connect the objects given in the table A and B and write whether the bulb glows or not. Okay, in the disconnected region we have to place the given objects in the table. So if we place the object, if the bulb glows means that is a conductor that conducts the electrons. Okay, if the bulb does not glows means that's not a conductor, it's like an insulator. Okay, the electron will not flow. Okay, let's fill this table. Let's see the first object, that is a pin. Now we are connecting the pin in the disconnected region, means what will happen? The light glows because the pin is a conductor, because it's made up of some metal only, so it's a conductor. So material of the object is a conductor and it glows or not glows, it glows. Okay, second object is a match stick. Now we are placing the match stick in the disconnected region. So match stick is a insulator, so light will not glows. Okay, so third one is a safety pin. Safety pin is also the conductor. Yes, if you place the safety pin in the disconnected region, means that bulb will glows up, so it's a conductor. Fourth one is a pencil. If you place the pencil in the disconnected region of the circuit, means the bulb will does not glow because it's an insulator. Next, fifth one is a metal spoon. So metal means that always a conductor. Okay, if you place the metal spoon in the disconnected region of the circuit, means the bulb glows up because that metal spoon is a conductor. Sixth one is a rubber. If we place a rubber in the disconnected region of the circuit, means the bulb does not glow because rubber is a insulator. Another one is a pen. Pen is also the insulator. If you place there, means the bulb does not glow. And a wooden scale is also insulator. If you place wooden scale in that region, means the bulb does not glow. And a hairpin is made up of some metal only. So if you place the hairpin in that disconnected region, means that light glows up, and the hairpin is a conductor. And the glass piece is a insulator. If you place there, means the light does not glow, so it's a insulator. Okay, and that's it. Now we completed this activity. So next we are going to see about the safety measures to safeguard a person from electric shock. Yes, when you see the person nearby you got electric shock from a transformer or from any objects, means you have to make some safety measures at the immediate time itself. Okay, let's see what are the safety measures. First one is switch off the power supply. Second step is remove the connection from the switch. Third one is push him away using non-conducting materials. Yes, we have to use the non-conducting materials to push a person who got the electric shock. Okay, if we use the metal rod, means what will happen? The electric current flows through that metal rod and it affect who are rescuing the person. Okay, so we have to use the non-conducting materials. Fourth step is give him first aid and take him to the nearest health care. Okay, so these are the safety measures you have to take when somebody got electric shock nearby you. Okay, so that's it. Next we are going to know about one person called Thomas Alva Edison. He is a very well known inventor. He invented the bulb. Okay, so he was an American inventor. He invented more than 1,000 useful inventions, and most of them are electrical application used in homes. Okay, so you need to know about this person. Okay, he only invented the bulb. His name is Thomas Alva Edison. Okay, next we have one activity. Let's see here. Let's see this picture. Here, produce electricity using copper plates, zinc plates, connecting wires, key, beaker, and porridge. Porridge is nothing but the rice water here. Okay, so the older porridge, the better will be the current. So if the porridge is old, means the conduction of the current is more. Okay, that's only they are mentioning here. After that, arrange copper and zinc plates in series as shown in the figure. All fill two blocks with porridge. Connect the copper plate with the positive of the LED bulb and zinc to the negative. Okay, positive, we have to connect the copper plates in the positive region of the bulb, and we have to connect the zinc in the negative region. So observe what happens. So we have to observe what happened, and afterwards, instead of porridge water, we have to replace curd, potato, lemon. Okay, let's do it. In all of them, that's our porridge, curd, potato, lemon are used to produce electricity only. So less amount of electricity is produced in this setup. So the LED bulb will glows up with the slow energy. Okay, so as I said, the nature of the copper plate is having a more number of protons. That's a positive terminal here they placed, and the nature of the zinc material is is to having the more number of electrons. We already discussed it in the cell. So if we connect like this in the porous water, means the light will glows up or not, that's the question. It will glows up because the porous water is a conductor. Okay, instead of the porous water, if we replace curd, means what will happen, it also gives the electricity. It also helps the bulb to glows up. For the potato lemon also it's the same thing, that conducts the electricity and LED will glows up in the very light manner. It gives us the electricity in not a much more amount, it gives us in a little amount of electricity only, that helps to glow up only the LED lights. Okay, and that's it. Now we discussed all the things in this electricity, like how we are getting the electricity, how we are using the circuit, the switch, the symbolic representation of the devices, of the materials. So all the things are we discussed in this unit. Okay, that's it. In our upcoming videos we can see the book back, that's the evaluation question of this electricity. Okay, that's it. Subscribe to our channel Melting Math and don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you.